Projeto IHAP Entrevista, com o objetivo de registrar a memória e o acervo imaterial e biográfico de paratienses natos e de coração. O IHAP Entrevista recebe hoje Elizabeth Calder, mais conhecida como Liz Calder, diretamente de uma videoconferência Brasil-Inglaterra. Modelo, jornalista, escritora, editora, foi e é até hoje um pouco de tudo. Ela é cofundadora e idealizadora da Flip, Festa Literária Internacional de Paraty, um dos mais relevantes eventos de literatura do mundo. Ela nos concedeu esta raríssima entrevista com muito bom humor, simpatia e amor por Paraty e pelo Brasil. Tratamos de diversos assuntos, desde a criação da Flip, a decisão de vir morar no Brasil no auge do regime militar, nos anos 60, e também do seu papagaio, a Juju. Fotos enviadas por Liz Calder, que serão mostradas no IHAP Entrevista, foram gentilmente cedidas por ela, que também é criadora da famosa editora Bloomsbury, que publicou e lançou vários livros e escritores ao redor do mundo. E dentre as histórias mais conhecidas está a do bruxinho Harry Potter, da escritora J.K. Rowling. Foi neste computador que nós fizemos a entrevista com Liz Calder, uma personagem raríssima e uma entrevista também muito rara. Liz é uma paratiense de coração, considerada a mãe da Flip, um dos mais importantes eventos de literatura do mundo. Ela também é cofundadora da Bloomsbury, a editora britânica, que até hoje publica o livro do famoso bruxinho Harry Potter. Ela falou de tudo, uma entrevista absolutamente sem rodeios e raríssima. Não perca, assista nas plataformas do IHAP, no Facebook, no YouTube e no Instagram. E aproveite essa rara oportunidade de conhecer alguém que ajudou a transformar um pouco a vida de Paraty.
Hello.
Hello, Liz.
Que maravilha!
Would you like to speak in Portuguese or in English?
For me, English is easier, much better, because I don't. My Portuguese is very rusty.
And my English is very rusty as well, but you look great.
Good. Well. Yes, it's very comfortable talking from my home.
I was watching that recently. It was your birthday in January.
Yes.
And how are you feeling with 30 years old?
How am I feeling about what?
30 years old.
30 years old.
Yeah.
No, I feel just the same as I did when I was 30 years old.
And at the beginning of your life, you moved to New Zealand, and after that you moved you changed again. And you lived in America, United States, and after that you moved to Brazil. How was it for you to change a lot of times, different countries, different everything? How could you tell us a bit about your? Because as I was reading, you went to New Zealand. And after that, you got back to England, and and you graduated from literature in Canterbury, yes?
Well, I was at university in New Zealand, and I was studying English literature then.
Right.
When at university, that's what I was studying, and I always loved to read. I always loved books. My mother introduced me to reading and gave me so many books to read that I became a very enthusiastic reader from a very early age, from about the age of 6. And I remember I had to go to hospital for some very small problem. I had sort of bad tonsillitis or something like that. And she brought a big suitcase into the hospital, and she opened it on the bed where I was, and it was just full of books. So I remember that because it was, exactly what I wanted. Anyway, then I, moving from England to New Zealand, it was my parents' desire to be somewhere, because my father and mother we had been in London all through the war time, the Second World War, and it was a very difficult time in London after the war, because everything was very short supply, food and everything. And my father wanted to be a farmer. And so New Zealand or Australia or Canada were the places we could go, because they were, they were welcoming more people who could go to there and work on the farms and so on. And so we went to New Zealand, and I was very excited. I thought it was wonderful, and mainly because my mother said that my sister and we could have a pony. A little pony to ride, because we were crazy about horses.
And what about, after it, how was your chosen? About Brazil. Why have you chosen your, because you came to Brazil during the dictatorship. You think you worked as a model?
Yes, well, we came, that was after I got married. I came to Brazil because my husband, he worked for Rolls-Royce Aero Engine. And because he was sent, first of all, to North America and then to Brazil. And we went there. I didn't know anything about Brazil, actually. And I don't know, because we arrived in Rio at the airport, and when I arrived and got out of the airplane, I felt very much at home immediately. It was strange. I liked the feeling of being in a very warm place. The temperature was much warmer than Canada, believe me. And it was warm. Not only the temperature was warm, but the people were very warm. And so, I was very, very much at home in Brazil. And for me, it's always been the home of my heart, where I always feel, is the place I should be. At the moment, I'm not there, and I haven't been for some years, but I have a son and 2 grandsons in Brazil, in Itapaba. So I feel like we're still very close to Brazil, as well as the connection with Paraty, Flip, Mauro, and all the wonderful people that work with Flip. And Belita, of course.
You really worked as a model here in Brazil?
Well, because you know, this was the 60s, 1964. We arrived in Rio in April 1964 when the military took over, and so my husband was working every day. My two children, I had two children then, Rachel and Toby, and they were both at little schools, a little nursery school. So I had lots of time on my hands, and I met a woman who owned a company called Pulsport. It was a dress manufacturer. It was a what do you call it? They made clothes for women, and I worked there because I couldn't speak Portuguese, so I couldn't get a job. As a model, you don't need to say anything.
Yeah.
You just have to and of course, I spent a lot of time in the dressing room with the models, and that's how I learned a lot of Portuguese, especially street Portuguese, gíria, etc.
Yeah, gíria, yeah. And I was reading the Guardian newspaper, and you would have said when you were in Brazil during the 60s, you said, I felt this the place where I belonged. The smells, tropical vegetation, mix of culture, and everything. Did you take a parrot to London?
Yes. Yes, I did. We had a friend of ours was a guy. He was a painter, and he was Chilean, and he had a papagayo, and he had to go back to Chile. So he said to me, "Well, can you look after my parrot? I'll be back in 6 weeks." I said, No, I don't want a parrot, thank you very much. I can't look after it. Anyway, he could not get anybody to look after the bird, so I said, okay, I look after Juju. She was called Juju. And
Juju.
she was beautiful, Amazonian with green.
It was a female parrot.
Yes, we
Female.
don't know. We think.
Okay.
We had her for 30 years.
13.
30.
30 years. All right. Long time.
A long time. She lived with us in London. She came everywhere with us. She was a wonderful bird, and yes, I was very sad when she died because she was a wonderful link with Brazil.
The parrot helped you to keep in touch with Brazilian Portuguese, and
Yes.
I suppose that when you got back to England, seems to be that you used to listen bossa nova songs to help keep
Yes.
the Portuguese, is right?
Yes, I think so. Well, I could. I learned to sing some of the songs, the bossa nova that were very current at that time. You know, they were the Chico. I went to a lot of concerts of Chico and
Chico
Caetano,
Buarque.
Chico Buarque, Caetano Veloso, Gilberto Gil. all of those people were in Sao Paulo giving big concerts, and we went to a lot. And so the songs were one way to help learning the language. I went to, the only way to learn the language is just to speak it and to go and listen, and yeah. So I mean, I became able to speak more or less street Portuguese.
Yeah. So, do you recognize it?
Yes. Is that the first edition? Very good. Bloomsbury, yes. Very good. Yes.
So,
is that the Portuguese?
Sorry? Huh?
Is that the English edition?
English. Chamber of Secrets.
Yes.
Yes, English.
Yeah, of course. It was a very, very important, exciting time for Bloomsbury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But
I have to just a little bit talking about Harry Potter, because Harry Potter somehow is connected to Flip, right? And what is funny is Harry Potter was turned down 22 times of other publishers, and before its original publisher. I was browsing on internet, and I saw that one guy called, I think, Mr. Barry Cunningham, yeah?
yeah.
Yeah. He read the book, and he gave to his daughter, Alice, and she really loved it. And because the Hogwarts magic, the all universe of Harry Potter, you think it was a revolution for literature?
What, Harry Potter?
Yeah.
No, a revolution for literature, no. It's just a very, very popular and very, very good series of books for children. It's not a revolution in literature, no. But what was very unusual was how popular it became everywhere, in every country. I don't think there's been another book, children's book, or any other book which has had such universal popularity. Not in our time.
But did you expect yourself that Harry Potter would be such popular book?
No, I don't think anybody knew how popular it would be. People say they did, but they don't. They didn't. We were all amazed. Everybody was surprised.
Right.
But it was, Bloomsbury was about the 12th publisher. So at least 12 publishers before us said no, turned it down.
12.
So, I think one of the reasons we were smart enough to pick it up was that we just started having children's books. So the children's department, the people that worked, Barry Cunningham and two assistants, they had time to read it, and they could focus on it, and they understood and they recognized this was a very, very special book. If we had been older, a publishing house more established, we would have had 16 piles of books to read, and piles of books. It doesn't mean you can't be a good publisher, but it means you cannot read every single bit right away. And so it was a good time for Bloomsbury to receive that book.
Right. And after J.K. Rowling, after Joe brings it out, the feedback was a phenomenon, because I think Harry Potter's has sold more than around 1 billion of copies. Is that right?
I don't know. It could be. I've lost track. I don't keep watch of the sales figures anymore. But it's a lot of copies. Yeah, it's a lot of copies, and it was an extraordinary phenomenon.
Yeah.
It was an extraordinary phenomenon.
But did you read the book?
I'm not answering.
No. No, I mean, but did you take a look?
Yes.
Of course. All right. So I have another thing that maybe you can. What is that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Is the double dose wand?
It's a wand. I'm not an expert on Harry Potter. I told you I had nothing to do with the book.
No, yes, I'm just talking about because Bloomsbury have helped Flip Festival at the beginning, because I think
yeah, Bloomsbury did. That was because I was involved in it, and Bloomsbury gave me the opportunity to come to Flip and to help start it. So Bloomsbury did help, but Bloomsbury didn't give money to Flip. It was they helped me to get Flip started.
Yeah, I heard one story that at the beginning of 90s you were in Brazil to publish some books, including 100 Days Between Sea and the Sky by the sailor Amir Klink.
Yes.
And then you have met Mr. Mauro Munoz. And it seems to be that you had a dinner. It was at the beginning of 90s. And then you became friends. You become friends. And after that, you would have traveled to Hay Festival in 1997, and then the Flip, the International Literary Festival of Paraty, was born. Do you remember when you came to Brazil, the dinner with Amir Klink? How was it? Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, I don't think Flip started with that dinner. It was more. I can't exactly remember, but the whole idea of Flip came up because we were together with Mauro, Luis Schwartz, Chico Buarque, Milton Hatum, and Patricia Mello. we took all of these people, because Bloomsbury was publishing the books by Brazilian writers, and 4 of them came to Hay-on-Wye and to Edinburgh and to London. We had a big tour, and Mauro and Louis Schwartz were there too. And the idea of Flip emerged from those days. You know, we talked about all kinds of things, and we had lots of plans. So I don't remember exactly when it was, but the Amir Klink publication was before that. But I don't remember anything discussing any literary festival at that time.
Okay. But so this trip, this travel with Mr. Mauro, Mr. Schwartz, it happened.
Oh, yes. Yes.
It was in the Hay Festival.
Yes, we went to. We all went in a big van, a big car, to Hay, together with the authors and Mauro and Louis Schwartz and my husband Louis. So yeah, you know, it was a very significant time, and we've been to Hay-on-Wye recently, not for the festival, but just to go there, and it's such a lovely place. It's a bit like the sister of Paraty,
right?
A Welsh Paraty.
So Hay Festival was like an inspiration, maybe.
Oh yes, very much. Yes. But there were many festivals by that time. I think in England, Hay was the first one to be very successful. But there are many more happening in small towns and around in the country. And now, you know, there's a festival in nearly every single town in the UK.
Yeah. Sorry to insist a little bit about Harry Potter, but I'd like to know. I'd like to know a little bit about your personality. Just have a think, okay? Just have a think, and then I will continue talking about Flip. Just have a think. Which actor do you think you look like more? Hermione Granger, Harry Potter, or Ronald Weasley? About the personality.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm not an expert in Harry Potter. I don't know. I don't think I have any of their personality, but I wouldn't know. I don't know the books well enough, and I don't think of this question. I have no idea. Why do you ask me?
No, because once you is part of the publisher, it was just to try to show people here because people love here, people love Harry Potter story. And I'd like to ask you about because we have 3 actors that change the children minds here in Brazil. So that's why. So it's a unique opportunity to talk with you. And even though you are bound to adults literature, but it was just a question. In 2003, International Literary Festival of Paraty, you gave an interview to BBC of London, and you told that in 2003 you didn't expect too many people to show up here in the House of Culture, Câmera Torres, here in Paraty. I think you expected 200 people and show up more than 10,000 of people. How was it for you? What do you remember?
Well, no, it was a most wonderful time, surprise and joyful time, because we put a lot of work into getting it going, and when we came the first time to talk to people and trying to raise money, we came to Brazil about 3 years running to raise money. And people did not know what literary festival was. They didn't know what we were talking about. It was completely unknown. And so, with great help from people like many of the people in Paraty, and also I would say Luis Schwartz of Companhia das Letras, who was wonderfully enthusiastic. Other publishers were not so enthusiastic. In fact, several publishers, I won't name them, but they said, no, it will never work. Nobody will go to Paraty. No. They did.
But why?
And,
Why did
they say that?
Yeah.
I don't know why they said it. They didn't think. Well, first of all, Paraty. They didn't. They thought Rio was the only place that visitors would go in large numbers to listen to people talking about books. They didn't believe that Paraty would be hospitable to such an idea, and they were completely wrong, of course. But in fact, the people in Paraty were very enthusiastic, when they understood what we wanted to do. And we had an event in the church where we tried to explain what we were doing, and I think people were very puzzled. But they thought, okay, well, this sounds like it could be interesting, and we will be supportive. And so, we got a sort of team together. I think I sent a photo of the team to you. And we had a beautiful logo. Jeff Fisher did a beautiful picture of the what is it? The church that's
the Church of Paraty.
One of the churches in
Santa Rita. Santa Rita,
exactly. Yeah, and it was beautiful, and everybody loved it, and so yeah. I mean, the people in Rio just didn't understand and couldn't believe it. And eventually, of course, they all came and were very happy to come because they sold a lot of books.
Right. How was, Ms. Liz, how was the transition to change to the House of Culture, Câmera Torres, here in Paraty, to the idea to put tents?
Oh, well, Mauro Munoz was the person who was on the case from the beginning. Mauro and I spent a lot of time together before any of this happened, thinking about all kinds of things, because Mauro has a very, what's the word? He's very, he can dream about ideas like nobody I've ever met. And so these ideas we discussed were like, they were what we call pie in the sky. You know, they were not real things, but they were things that maybe could happen. And so it's what we call blue sky thinking. We were thinking about possibilities and what would be possible. And obviously, many things we thought were not possible. but we made, but this idea, which, you know, in some ways began way before anything else, when Mauro and when Louis and I met Mauro, because Louis Schwartz and Amir Klink, that's when it all happened the first time. And then we reconnected with Mauro, and gradually these ideas were beginning to take form.
Yes, it was a great idea because you, in my opinion, you got success in fill up, you know, there are some parts of Paraty that it wasn't so used, and the Mauro and yours and all staff had a good idea to create the tent, in my opinion.
Yes, mainly Mauro, because he is the designer, architect, and it was his vision. His vision to have, you know, a huge tent, and I think it was very inspiring.
Yeah.
Because it kind of it made you think, oh my God, you know, we've got to fill this tent, and it was it seemed like it would be a miracle to fill it, but we've constantly filled it.
How did you get to convince people like Erika Hobsbawm and others to come to Brazil? Because I remember I was a kid, and I left my house, and suddenly I was, oh my gosh, what is that? Erika Hobsbawm in Paraty? It's unthinkable. It's unthinkable. So it was unthinkable. And Eric Hobsbawm was having a cup of tea or a coffee, anyway, I don't remember. And I thought, oh my gosh, it's the number one in the world about the history here in front of me. How did you convince people to move to Brazil to this festival?
Well, first of all, Eric Hobsbawm, he loved Brazil. He had been to Brazil before, and he loved Brazil. So he was just easy, you know. We got in touch with him, said, and also he's published in Brazil. You know, his books sell. In fact, his books are selling better in Brazil than anywhere else in the world. So yes, Brazil and Eric, he was not a problem. He loved coming. He had a lovely time, and he was very, you know, quite old by then. I don't know how old he was.
92 or 94.
Right. Well, he was jumping off the boats. You know, we go out on the boat and he jumped. Yeah, he was very happy. And his wife in England was very worried about him.
It was unthinkable. When, as I told you, I was just walking. I went for a walk, and I looked at him and oh my gosh, what's going on here? Because it's an extraordinary idea to invite him and other writers. I'm going to ask you one question. Of course, you replied many times, but why J.K. Rowling didn't come to Brazil? It's anyway. It's difficult to bring her.
We did ask her to come, but she couldn't come. She was too busy. I don't know. No, I don't know why she couldn't. But
she's really busy.
I mean, we constantly in demand. Yes, I cannot explain. I think she would have wanted to, but her time was always taken up.
Who are your favorite Latin American? Who your favorite Latin American or who your favorite Brazilian writer?
Well, I have to be very
unfair.
What?
No, I mean it's a tough question because there are many good writers here, but which writer do you keep in your mind? Do you keep the book on your desk? You know, which one do you like?
I would say it's a very obvious one, but for me, Machado de Assis is my favorite Brazilian writer because I love his style, his humor, his writing, and his books. Otherwise, I was very happy to be publishing Chico Buarque and Milton Hatum, who I like. I think is a wonderful writer, and Chico also. Patricia Mello also. I'm very biased because I publish those people, but they have to be in the top range for me. Of course, more popular ones like Jorge Amado. I love his books. So yes, and more. I haven't really read very many new writers, and I'd like to do that because there must be a lot of good new Brazilian writers. But not all of them get published in English, and my Portuguese it's not good enough to read literature. I can read a magazine or a story in a newspaper. not a great novel.
I have one difficult question for you now. You have brought so many amazing voices and books to the world, but there is a book that you wished to have the opportunity to publish, a book that you consider as the one that got away. And I'm not a journalist, I'm a lawyer.
Yes, but I mean many, but I can't remember them. There are too many to remember. I mean, in the publishing business, you are always trying to. It's very competitive. People, all the publishers want the same books that are being offered at the time, and can't really remember. Sorry. Maybe I'll think about it. I'll let you know.
I told you it will be a difficult question.
You are right. You see, for me, though I have something, everybody has a memory, but I have a forgettery. That goes into my forgettery.
Just to be, I'm finishing. But I have just 2 questions more. In 2018, I noticed that you got a prize, not a prize, but awards by Prince Charles, from royal family. And it was a commander, I wrote here, a commander of Order of British Empire for service for literature. How was it? Could you just tell us a little bit about this award, this prize? How is Prince Charles? No, I'm joking. And I noticed that I'm really honest and straight. I noticed that you were wearing a very beautiful but very simple outfit, and I thought to myself, "Oh, Mrs. Calder is going to meet the prince, the next king of the UK, and you were very simple, very. It shows a little bit about your personality. Very simple, humble."
Well, a purple thing. It was a suit, just a little suit, and I had a hat, which I don't usually wear, and yeah, I mean, you had to be in some way formal, you could not go in jeans, really. You had to be wearing fairly simple and formal things, and so it was very cold, I remember, and so you couldn't be in a light dress. It was in the morning and cold, and so that's how it was. But I was very impressed by Prince Charles because he seemed to know. I mean, there were hundreds of people getting awards, hundreds. There was a big queue of us. And when my turn came, I went up and he said something, congratulations, and put this medal on my coat. And he said, yes, he said something about literature and his wife, Camilla, because she is very keen on books as well. And he said that his wife and he had discussed that I was going to get this award for over breakfast that day. So I thought that was rather remarkable because he remembered to say that, otherwise I'd be talking to hundreds of people that day. But I have a nice photograph of him and me, him giving me this thing. So did I send you that one?
No, actually not.
I can send it to you.
Yeah. But how did you feel to be in front of the next king of the Britain and to get award very unique? How was it in your personal feeling to get this award? How was it?
I was very honored. I was very honored and a little bit embarrassed. Well, have a problem with the word empire.
Why?
Well, because it speaks of a time when we were, trying to run the world and own the world. We don't find that very appealing anymore.
Okay. You are a member of the Royal Literature, yeah, or not?
Yes.
Yes.
The RS, yes. Royal Society of Literature. Yes.
Yeah. I'd like to ask you, loads of awards. You are a member of the Royal Literature. You just got the Commander of Order of British Empire. What's your what is next? I mean, do you intend to? What's your long-term plans? What are you thinking?
Well, my long-term plan is to continue to be here with my husband and my children and my grandchildren. My big plan is to see my Brazilian grandsons, because I haven't seen them for 2 years. And, that's very sad. One of them is just a little guy. He's only 3 years old. And I saw him when he was a baby, a new baby. Otherwise, I don't know. One of the best things that ever happened to me was to get an award from President Lula in Brasilia, and that for me is a very special moment, and it was wonderful. It was a real big party, lots of people, they're having a nice time. I would say that was a highlight. The other big highlight was going to Carnival in Rio.
Do you like Carnival?
Yes, wonderful. That was wonderful. And we were there the year that Chico Buarque was he was being honored. He was the main. I've forgotten what you call it, but he was Mangueira and Chico were leading the parade.
That's great.
Very happy.
It must be funny because Chico Buarque loves Mangueira, so and
yes.
the patience, yeah.
At the beginning, at the first trip, Chico was there.
Yeah. What happened in the UK last week? Eunice storm hitting all Ireland.
What's that?
No, I mean, what happened last week in England and Wales? The Eunice storm.
The storm.
Yeah, Eunice storm.
You mean the Well, yes. I mean, there was a big storm, which was very. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Last week in England, in Wales.
Yes. Well, it was. I mean, it happens quite often, but the terrible damage done to some people's houses and trees falling down and rivers flooded. But it was not. It was nothing compared with some of the terrible floods in Brazil.
In Brazil, floods is terrible. It's terrible. And sometimes when you held the Flip here festival, the floods come in Paraty in the old town. So sometimes it's a little bit disturbing for the festival.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
Venice, like Venice.
Yes.
Miss Liz, all good things must come to an end, and I know you are a very busy person. Um, Before finishing, I would like to ask you, have you been watching the news about the war in the Eastern European? It's crazy, you know. Not
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I think it feels like, I was born just before the Second World War. Seems like, this is getting that way. It's just unbelievable. And what Putin is doing, I don't understand what he wants to get out of this. But he's made him. He is, the whole world is against and appalled by this. This is a madman.
Do you think that we are on the way for a third war?
I hope not. I hope not. I can't believe it, but I am afraid. Uh, you know, I'm very worried about what might happen, but I hope it won't be that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's totally insane. I was here last week having a chat, speaking to a friend of Poland. They are very afraid of it and very confusing, confused. It's very confusing situation because they didn't expect to Putin's decision. You know, it's very unthinkable and anyway, there is no sense. There is no sense this war.
No, no sense in it at all.
I don't know if you know, but the some newspapers in England they say that the Queen Elizabeth II they normally have a shot of gin every day. Do you prefer a shot of gin or a shot of cachaça?
Cachaça every time.
Sorry?
Cachaça, please.
Cachaça? Do you like cachaça?
Oh yes, caipirinha.
Caipirinha.
My favorite drink.
Your favorite drink? Yeah.
Sem dúvida.
But do you normally drink a shot every week or not? Your husband, Louis Baum, he likes it.
Yeah, he likes it, but we don't drink it very much now, but as much as we used to, because we're getting a bit old, and you can't take the the excitement. But no, it's a wonderful drink. It's a really wonderful drink. My friend, when I introduced my friend Carmen to caipirinha, she said she loves it because one drink is very good. Two caipirinhas is wonderful, but three is too.
I will send to you some bottles of cachaça, right?
Yes. People drink here in England now. You can get it here.
Yeah.
But not the good. The good one is Marie Isabel.
Yeah, Marie Isabel is very good. We have others. Marie Isabel here in Paris is great. We have other cachaça coqueiro, corisco.
Yes. All all of them are wonderful.
I'll send you some bottles.
Wonderful.
So, I'd like, on behalf of Paraty Historical and Artistic Institute, I'd like to thank you so much in name of the members of the Institute, our President, Maria Eduarda, our Vice President, Bruno, Maria Carolina, our Secretary General, Julia Hamecki, and the other members. And thank you so much. And I'd like to dedicate this short interview, very unlike, because I know you are very difficult to conceive interview. I'd like to dedicate to the former mayor of Paraty. I think it was your friend, José Cláudio Araújo. His death due to COVID-19, and I'd like to dedicate this interview to all people who died and lost their parents, lost their families and relatives, because even though we still under a pandemic moment. So, and you are very kind to consider this interview in this difficult time, even though we have been, how do I say, improving, not improving, but we have getting better with the situation. And I'd like to dedicate this interview to all families who lost their parents. It was unthinkable and moment, because he couldn't imagine. Who could imagine a pandemic moment? You stay in your house, you can't leave. So I'd like to make this comment. Could you drop a message for people here in the Paraty Historical Institute, Artistic Institute, IHAP, and for all people who works with culture, literature, the musicians, poetry? Could you just drop a message to finish this marvelous interview?
Okay. Well, just that I hope that all the people in Paraty are showing the kind of resilience and courage and spirit that has always been, as far as I can see, something that the people of Paraty, paratienses, are filled with, this kind of spirit of optimism and energy and enthusiasm and welcoming to people into their community. And I would send great sympathy to those whose families have lost loved ones at this time of the terrible pandemic, which has just been so disastrous in so many places. And I hope that people will recover and continue to be the paratienses that we know and love.
All right. Miss Elizabeth Calder, thank you so much I invite you for a caipirinha as soon as possible.
Thank
And to finish, I'd like to thank you because, in fact, you, Mr. Mauro, all staff, all sponsors, everyone who creates Flip, the festival, were responsible to change people's lives because not only in Paraty, but mainly in Paraty. Flip was the way to change a little bit about the happiness, about the economics. People can work the whole entire year. Is something really that you and you, Mr. Mauro, Schwartz, and other sponsors, everyone, but you were very precise when you create the Flip festival, the Flip, and and it changed people's lives. So it's very significant, and you are part of the history of Paraty, and you are part of the history of Brazilian literature. And thank you so much. I was a kid when everything happened, but nowadays I'm pretty sure that your decision and your kindness, your passion about literature, about Paraty, about cachaça, about our culture, it was very important because change people's lives. And I'm pretty sure that people who don't know you now will be taking the opportunity to show a little bit Miss Elizabeth, Miss Liz Calder, and making sure that you are part you are part of the history of the city, of the citizens, of everything. So I'm very, very happy to be here. It's an honor to me. I'm not to be a politician. I'm really honest. It's an honor because at the moment I'm here to make this interview. But this project, IHAP Entrevista, IHAP Talks, is a project to tell a little bit about the memory of people, people who make difference, like you. You made difference for us, for our story. For you saved lives. There is no doubt about that. You saved lives from deaths, drugs, and you gave opportunity to a range of families here in Paraty to get honestly the money to make something to raise some money, to bring some money to the house. So with literature and with your passion and the whole idea that you've got. So thank you so much indeed, and congratulations to everything that you have done in UK, in the world, but mainly here in Brazil and mainly here in Paraty. I'm selling by heart. I'm selling it by heart, and I'm pretty sure that people now, when this interview will be launched, will see that there is a woman called Liz Calder that made a difference for many, many people.
Thank you very much, Daniel. I am very, very proud to be to have taking what you're saying, but for me, Paraty is my real spiritual home, and I love the place, and I look forward. Even this year, maybe we will be back there, and for me, that could not be a more wonderful thing to happen. I would never go anywhere else. Paraty is the place.
Okay, thank you so much, and have a great day. And send my my hugs to your husband, Louis Baum.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Bye. Bye, Daniel.
Thank you. Bye bye.